Welcome, people of the World Wide Web, and it's Cypher Sigma here, and it's another time for another movie review. So we've only got one this week, and it's this guy right here. So yes, Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. So I went to see this a few days ago, and yeah, it was alright. So we'll get into a few bits. I'll then do a spoiler review, and I have then some additional notes, but we'll get into it. So it was all right for the most part. I mean, if you've seen the trailer, you unfortunately do ruin a lot of it within the film. The bad guys, they are not from the comics, so they were designed specifically for this film, as far as I am aware. And yeah, it was all right. So obviously, anybody who hasn't seen the trailer or anything, so Shazam, obviously, you had Billy Batson. He's a young lad. He gets given the power of the wizards, which obviously has super strength. Kind of like almost a magical Superman, so to speak. But obviously, he still has the mind of a child. He defeats the bad guy in one and breaks the staff after giving all his family's powers. And this is where it starts off. So as the story goes along, obviously Billy, he's almost 8, or he's soon to be 18, and then obviously he lives in a foster home with all these other foster kids. So he has this kind of dauntingness that obviously he'll age out of the foster home and he won't be there anymore. And there are like 6 little kids who all play the different characters, and they all kind of have a little bits going on. And yeah, it's a strange one to kind of place on. I mean, with the first one, I don't think a lot of people had a lot of expectations for it. For me, it was something fresh. It was something different. I like Zachary Levi anyway. Really glad to see him in the Shazam role. It wasn't something I necessarily imagined him playing, but it was really good. Whereas this one, strange. I kind of went in a little bit with higher expectations because I enjoyed the first one so much. Now it's still trying to be quite family friendly, and it was all right. As I say, I enjoyed it. It was definitely worth a watch. I'll get going with spoilers from this point onwards. So obviously, if you're watching this, I thought it was all right. So please, but anyway, as I say, I always say sorry. That just if you like the trailer, if you like look at it, go see it. But yeah, so obviously we'll get obviously this is spoilers now, and obviously so yeah, I mean if you watch it, it's quite easy to tell from the trailer that obviously they're these gods come on, they're basically fighting the family, they can take the power away, and there's a big dragon. There ain't too much far from that. There are a few little bits that you learn, and I don't know, for me, it felt a little disconjointed. For me, the first one was very much Billy being prominent because he had the interaction with the kids and stuff like that. That really worked. Now you have, instead of Shazam, you have 6 characters to deal with that all have abiding for a little bit of time, and obviously you have the kids and the superhero version. So there's like, instead of like Billy and Shazam and then the 5 kids, so 7, you kind of have 12 now kind of personalities all switching between through, and there's stuff going on, and they're trying to make it relatable in a family film. Even though it is funny, it's a family and a relatable film, and then monsters turn up at the end, and like unicorns and stuff, and it was some interesting takes and stuff. I felt like we needed more. For me, I don't know, I felt like there was quite a jump from the first film to the second film, and the dynamic, and there's quite a lot going on. I weren't necessarily too sold on the villains, even though some of the plots that they had in there and the evil goddesses, so to speak, it was a little bit predictable when you meet one of them, and a few little bits I thought was very obvious. Obviously, there were certain bits of the story about the room with all the doors and everything that coincided. It all did work together, and it did flow. But yeah, I mean, even Zachary Levi, even though it was quite a fun, jokey character, for now it was kind of like a kind of lost young lad. And even though they were building him up to something, you didn't see much of a relationship with him and his mum, even though there was, and this is the thing, because I think there was so little time to have on each character, and it's been probably quite a long time since I've seen one, you needed, I think, more time. I think there was certain kind of revelation that him and his mum have. In this one, they should have maybe saved it for free and built on it a bit more, and this is made well. I mean, the kind of aspect of this film, it kind of I kind of felt they needed to take the rough storyline list and maybe have it as the third one and have a second film that was maybe a bit more fun. You learn a bit more of the characters. I mean, it could be due to COVID, to the time the kids are getting older. Obviously, they can only, I mean, even though like Power Rangers have had 20-year-olds playing teenagers anyway, but it could be because the age and they wanting to, you know, keep the things the same. But yeah, it's strange to say. It felt like sometimes they were trying to tick boxes. I mean, there was a certain bit like, say, the spoilery, one of the lads comes out as gay, and the family were all accepted, and that was quite nice. And there was, but only the link to that is kind of he's looking at a magazine very early on, and then you don't really see much of his character apart from he hates dodgeball and stuff. And this is where I was like, I you know, I wanted to spend a bit more time, or maybe I should have watched one. Who knows? So yeah. So, but I mean, overall, I liked it. It obviously builds up to something. I mean, there are two after credit scenes. There's scene one in the middle, one at the ends. The one at the end kind of foreshadows to something else. I don't know. I had to look at it. Links to the first after screen thing, so I imagine this is kind of where they want to go for free. But hey ho. And then the first one, it kind of links to something and it kind of doesn't. It features members or characters from another movie, and there's even to say there is, like, I mean, there was a few little reveal in there. I mean, the ending of spoil it, so obviously Billy's died and there's only a god that can thing, and there's only God who can reunite the flame, and it's Wonder Woman, and that was a very much like, I don't know, it felt a little like that. As I say, it was all right. It was worth a watch, and I you know, and I enjoyed it from that side of things. I just felt we needed to spend more time and more character development on all these people first before we built them up to a big battle, and especially even, I didn't rate the bad guys, or bad women, I should say, too much in this. You kind of saw, again, it was a little bit predictable where things were going to go. But I felt like you kind of needed to build it up more. So, I would give this movie a 5.5. I was going to give it 6, but I decided 5.5. Now, I said at the beginning that I had a little bit. So, I had high expectations going into this movie, and then I'd seen a lot of negativity online. So, I don't know if that influences me. 2, I went with one of my friends. So, again, I do find when you watch movies with friends and certain people, you do sometimes enjoy them or not as enjoy much more. I also, unfortunately, it was a bit of a bad day for me, and I needed something to escape. I'm not going to go into the reason why, but so for me, it did take my mind off stuff. So I did enjoy it from that, and these are things I just wanted to clarify on this one because there was so much going on. And obviously I had people with me like I normally don't and stuff like this. I mean, this could be a really bad film, and I just enjoyed it because it did enjoyed and took me away from things. It was fine. I mean, I look forward to obviously owning it when it comes out, because I always own it, and probably watching it a few more times. I think I need to. I mean, maybe when they release it, they might add a bit more in. Because I felt, even though it's like 2 hours, it maybe too much. I mean, because as I even said, with like the 6 kids and 6 personalities, and you got the parents, and then you got the bad guys, and there are so many characters and so much stuff going on, and even the comedy bits, I think it needed to evolve and needed to step up a little bit. But I think they should have taken elements, made it into a third film. But again, I digress. And I mean, there's so much going on with The Rock and everything else about, and like, you know, I do like The Rock, and I thought Black Adam was an alright film. I do think maybe they should have brought him in as a bad guy, and then it maybe has a redemption arc and stuff like this, and it probably would have worked a lot better. And, you know, having them two fight off would have been a better storyline. And everything going on with DC and all this stuff, I don't know how much it actually affects that. And same with the film, with all the characters and trying to tick boxes and stuff. I think there was just so much going on with this film and so much going on with DC. And we're just to a point that I think this, you know, even if you'd made this film a masterpiece, I still don't think it would have got, you know, it would have done as well as it would, because there was so much else. You know, everyone's kind of slagging it off, and everything with The Rock and obviously James Gunn and DC, and I think that just does, you know, and even the negativity online. It's same with like, same with kind of the She-Hulk series, to go slightly off thing. I really enjoyed that, but there was so much negativity before it had even come out, and then they kind of did something in it to go towards that, and it is what it is. I say everything's subjective, but yeah, I say I thought it was all right. It was definitely worth a watch. I'd happily watch it again. I say I think I probably do need to watch it again in a better mind space. But anyway, I've been Cypher Seekerman. This is my review of Shazam: Fury of the Gods. I shall see you in the next one. Have a nice weekend.